It is a bitter cold night here in northeast Michigan. The wind is blowing, the snow is being whipped around, and I am hungry. A snack would be really nice right now. I suppose I should be thinking of things like opening a can of chili, just good when it's so cold, or maybe even a can of chicken noodle soup. But I'm not thinking about those things. No, on this bitter cold night, I'm thinking about ice cream. Because ice cream is good no matter what the season, no matter what the time of day or night. So I started thinking a little bit about the history of ice cream, and thought I might share some of these with you. Now, some of them you may know, some of them you may not, but they are interesting nonetheless. Which is the oldest, do you think? Ice cream, sherbet, or snow cones? As far as anyone can tell, snow cones are the oldest. They date back at least as far as Roman Emperor Nero in 337 AD to 68 AD, who had snow brought down from the mountaintops to cool his wine cellars. On hot days, he'd mix some of the extra snow with honey, juices, and fruit pulp and eat it as a snack. Sherbet, which has more fruit and less milk or cream than ice cream, came next. In the 13th century, Marco Polo brought a recipe for sherbet from China to Italy. Only a few people knew about it. Recipes for sherbet were kept quite secret, closely guarded by chefs to the wealthy people. Now, historians estimate that sometime in the 16th century, one of these chefs, no one knows who, increased the milk content in the recipe for sherbet and reduced or eliminated the fruit entirely, inventing ice cream in the process. Whoever he or she is, my hat's off to them. Iced dessert remained an inclusive upper-class treat for over a century. With refrigeration, a costly ordeal of storing winter ice in underground vaults for summer use, only the wealthy tasted iced desserts. Then in 1670, a Sicilian named Francesco Procopio di Coltelli opened Paris's first coffeehouse cafe. It was the first business ever to make ice cream available to the general public. This inspired other coffee houses around Europe to do the same, and by the mid-17th century, ice cream could be found in most of the continent's major cities. And by the end of the century, people were addicted to it, and it's an addiction I can certainly understand. Beethoven wrote from Vienna in 1794, "It is very warm here. As winter is mild, ice is rare. The Viennese are afraid that it will soon be impossible to have any ice cream." Meanwhile, ice cream had gotten a foothold in the New World, too. It was first brought over in 1690, and by 1777, it was being advertised in New York newspapers. Ice cream was popular with many of the founding fathers, including Alexander Hamilton and George Washington, who ran up a $200 ice cream tab with one New York merchant in the summer of 1790, and Thomas Jefferson, who had his own 18-step recipe for ice cream and is believed to be the first president to serve it at a state dinner. First Lady Dolly Madison had ice cream parties and helped make ice cream fashionable among the new republic's upper crust. By the 1790s, ice cream was becoming more readily available in the United States, but it was still a rare treat due to the scarcity and high price of ice, and the difficulty in making it. Most ice cream was made in the pot freezer method. The ingredients sat in a pot that in turn sat in a larger pan of salt and ice. The whole thing had to be shaken up and down by one person, while another vigorously stirred the mixture. Oh my gosh. Over the next 50 years, two developments made ice cream in America a staple. The first, in the early 1800s, ice harvesting of frozen northern rivers in winter months, combined with insulated ice houses that sprang up all over the country, made ice, and therefore ice cream, cheap for the first time. By 1810, ice cream was being sold by street vendors in nearly every major city in the United States. And number two, in 1846, Nancy Johnson created the world's first hand-cranked ice cream freezer. With this invention, ice cream was both affordable and easy to make for the first time. And by 1850, it was so common that Goody's Lady's Book could comment, "A party without it would be like breakfast without bread." By 1900, electricity and mechanical refrigeration had given rise to a huge domestic ice cream industry, and it had become so closely identified with American culture that the people in charge of Ellis Island determined to serve a truly American dish to arriving immigrants, serving them ice cream at every meal. And that, my friends, is a little bit of the history behind the most delectable, luscious treat that can be imagined. And as cold as it is, I'm going to put my slippers on, hop out to the kitchen, well, maybe not hop, and get myself a bowl of Neapolitan.